Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a third lesson video, and today we'll be looking at what not to do when learning Für Elise for the first time. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this video because my last lesson video just absolutely popped off, and I thank everyone for that, and I thank everyone for your support. That's why I thought I'd dress up a little bit to look a bit more professional considering the amount of views I got in my last video. I actually haven't been outside for the whole day, so from my perspective it seems a little crazy, but I'll do it for anyone who's watching the video. And for anyone that's wondering, no, I actually have proper pants. So my clothes will tell you how serious I'm taking this, and I hope you're serious about learning Für Elise as well.
Oh yes, Daddy!
So okay, let's start. I know out of all the pianists watching, they've at least played Für Elise once in their life, or they've learnt it. But I want to use this piece as a demonstration on how I would teach and how I would learn a new piece myself. So, Für Elise. Who was the composer? Why was it written? Background context, structure of the song. This is all important. It's important because although there are no wrong ways of interpreting a piece, we still need to make sure that it's historically informed to be able to play so that we can deliver the composer's intentions or the purpose of the song accurately. And of course, accurately here is of course subjective. So speaking of subjective, Für Elise means for Elise. And we actually don't even know who this Elise person was. There's a lot of different arguments, but the most common one is this lady. Her name is Therese Malfatti. She was a fellow pianist, and I believe she was one of Beethoven's students at one point. It's commonly known that Beethoven wanted to marry this Therese person. And Für Elise is a confession of love, I guess. Beethoven was 40 years old when he wrote this song. And of course, Therese did not want to marry Beethoven because Beethoven, like all musicians, have very strong characteristics. Okay, but the most important thing to get out of this is that this is some sort of love confession. The next important thing on my list is edition. The reason why the editor and the publisher are so important is because of the details that are in the score. And like I said before, we obviously want to play it as historically accurate as possible, which means we want to find the edition that best transcribes Beethoven's own writing. I don't want you to take my word for it, I want you to do your own research, but a lot of people do say that ABRSM Barry Cooper's edition is one of the best ones for Beethoven. But when in doubt, just get the Henley version. Let me give you a quick slogan. When in doubt, text. Okay, and now before we start, we just need to make sure we know what the structure of the song is. The structure goes A, B, A, C, A. Now, what is the structure that we all learned in school? This is called rondo form. Good. It's just important that we know where A comes in again throughout the whole song. Because A, of course, is played at the start, which means it's the most important part of the whole song. Okay, now let's have a go at playing the piece. I know I say before we start a lot, but before we start, because this is really important, what is the time signature of the song? Yeah, it's 3/8, which means what? It means that there are 3 quaver pulses in each bar. Why? Because the other name for a quaver is also an 8th note. So if it's in 3/8, we're going to have 1 beat per bar, because we don't want to be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's just ridiculous, right? Also, the tempo is poco moto. Obviously, I don't speak Italian, but what I was taught poco moto means?
Poco moto.
Poco moto means a little movement in Italian, or a little motion, or something like that. So counting the anacrusis in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, ba, ba. Do you feel the pulse? When we get to bar 12, anyone I've heard play this piece always does rubato there. If you check the sheet music, Beethoven writes no indication whatsoever to slow down the E octaves. Anywhere, even in bar 49 and 93. I'm not saying don't do any rubato at all, but I'm just saying at least when you practice, you have to practice strictly in time. And when you do decide to slow it down for a performance, you should be very careful. I know someone is going to tell me,
"Oh, but I heard Lang Lang play it like this."
To that, I'm going to say, are you Lang Lang? No? Then don't play like that. Practice with accurate rhythm. Okay, next we come to B, which is in F major. Do you see how it didn't change the tempo at all throughout the whole section of B? I slowed it down a tiny bit at the end. But this is, in my opinion, the most important thing when you practice. No matter what speed you practice at, fast or slow, you have to keep the rhythm and the tempo absolutely tight. Because you know how piano teachers say practice is different from performing. Like you can't perform at the piano for 6 hours a day and call that practice because you haven't actually practiced anything. So it's the same point as I'm trying to make, where if you practice, just please, just practice, don't perform. Because if you get a rhythm wrong, because you're trying to be expressive, and now if you just practice that every day, you're eventually going to practice the wrong rhythm. Same with the notes. Just try to get everything right when you practice. First of all, my tempo going into section B did not change at all from section A, which is so important. To make it easier, I'll click the quaver pulse, 1, 2. In bar 30, the right hand changes to demi-semi-quavers. And I guarantee that most of you watching this won't be able to play this rhythmically accurate when you practice this by yourself. Do you practice like that? Really? I would practice all of this very slow, and you should be doing that as well. Slow, but relatively in time. So for example, just for this section, like this. Got it? Now some of you that aren't familiar with slow practice are going to be wondering to yourself, isn't that too slow? If you're thinking that, you're not practicing slow enough. There is no such thing as a practice being too slow. In fact, the slower the better. I always tell my students, if you want to be able to play it faster, you have to practice even slower. Because if you can't practice slow, how are you ever going to get it right playing fast? So again, slow practice. Same kind of concept in C. We'll just skip the second A because we already went through it. It has to be the same tempo. 77, you'll see that there are no indications of accelerando, which means to get faster. A lot of the people I hear play this so fast and not even pianissimo. They play it like why? Musicians that can play slowly and composed and very musically will always be better than someone who plays fast notes just brain dead. It's not impressive at all. And of course, like always, this will apply to any other song you practice ever. And yes, I can talk about phrasing, other sorts of musicality and stuff like that. But I find that that comes naturally to everyone once they get the fundamentals and the basics down solid. So that's like articulation, practicing slowly, getting the notes right, rhythm. Practice ugly first, and then you'll be able to play beautifully. Okay, so come back around here. Again, this will apply to any song you learn in piano, or not even piano, just any other instrument as well. So this is it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I thank all of you guys for watching, and always remember, just because your friend can play faster than you doesn't mean he's cool.